Why are we seeing an increase in mental health in Gen Z?
Yeah, that's an incredible question. So there was a really incredible book that was written by a social psychologist named Jonathan Haidt. It was called The Anxious Generation. And he sought out to answer this question. And what he did was he looked at the research, and what he found was one of the things that's unique about this generation is this is the first generation in the history of the world that has had the internet accessible to them from the time they were born to the time that they became adults. Mm-hmm. So what he talked about is how there was an increase in sort of virtual phone-based childhood, and there was a decrease in real-world play-based childhood. So he describes this as sort of the great rewiring of the American childhood, right? And I think that that's really key. I think that's really important when we're looking at this generation. It's not their fault, right? That this was a cultural shift, a cultural phenomenon that occurred when they were kids. At the time when they were born, it was the wild, wild west of the internet. We weren't talking about social and emotional health of young children and how this was going to impact them. And so we've seen the harmful impacts of social media. We've seen the harmful impacts of, quite frankly, the front-facing camera, right? And the impact that that's had on young females specifically. The research on that has not been great for young females. So we know that this has impacted them. And at the same time that there was this great sort of surgence of kids being online and in the virtual world, there was sort of this surgence of overprotected parenting. And parents, loving, cared about their kids, they wanted them to be safe, but there was this sort of overprotection in the real world at the same time when there was an underprotection in the virtual world. And so kids are getting exposed to all sorts of stuff online, but yet they're not able to develop their social and emotional skills in the real world, because at the end of the day, experience is always going to be the best teacher of those things.